Education must be free.
No cuts, no fees.
Education must be free.
No cuts, no fees.
Education must be free.
We are teachers. Justice now, justice now, justice now, now, now. We are the backbone of education. Treat us with respect right now.
Steve Zeltzer with HEAT, and he's going to go ahead and have some comments.
And I want to thank, first of all, the faculty, the students, and the supporters of community college who have made this an issue. HEAT is a higher education action team which has been organized to mobilize not just the college community but the public, working people, youth, to support our community college. And when you think about the budget of San Francisco, $12 billion. $12 billion, that's a lot of money, and yet we're having a battle over whether we can get $2.7 million to protect 300 classes. We think as a priority, the question of protecting these classes is a vital question. It's a life and death question to elderly, to young people, people in the African American community at Hunters Point and Bayview who need classes, who need Evans Center. So we're here today to say to Mayor London Breed and those supervisors who so far have voted no that she should sign the legislation, and we'll be going to her office because it does have a majority. But we also want the other supervisors, Peskin, Stefani, and Yee and Mandelman, to vote yes on this $2.7 million ordinance appropriation. What we're talking about is the survival of City College. Already there have been many, many cuts of classes. This is a public working class institution for the community, and we have a responsibility to protect it, protect public education. It's a vital resource for people to survive. And so our first speaker is going to be Rick Baum, who's a faculty member and has been active in, actually initiated the idea of the $2.7 million from San Francisco City and County. So welcome, Rick Baum.
Thanks a lot, Steve. Thanks for everybody who's come out here today. I just want to make a statement about the opponents of the funding, and because I was really disturbed by what they had to say a week ago when they did the vote. This emergency funding, as Steve pointed out, is very important for the educational opportunities of students, and by not having the classes, they're being deprived of educational opportunities. Supervisor Mandelman said that a reason why he was opposed to the funding is because the finances at City College are messed up, and they've been a mess, as he put it, for a decade. And I don't know if people are aware, but Mandelman was on the Board of Trustees for a number of years. He was the president. So what was he doing when he was on the Board of Trustees to straighten out the finances of the schools? So taking his words, they haven't been straightened out, and as a result, he's unwilling to provide money so that students have classes that they need to be taking. In addition, Mandelman's chief of staff is Tom Temprano, who's on the Board of Trustees. And again, I just cannot understand how they could be not advocating for money for the college, which is, as Steve pointed out, is a small amount. It's $2.7 million in a city with a budget of over $12 billion, and I did some math. That's 2 1/4%. 2 1/4%, and they are unwilling to come up with this money. So I'm very troubled by his opposition. You know, where was he to solve the financial problems? Supervisor Peskin, in his statement, pointed to something that happened 20 years ago, where some people were displaced from a building. Terrible. But again, students aren't responsible for these things, and yet they're the ones who are being harmed by the decisions to not provide the funding. I have ongoing trouble about students being harmed by things that they have no control or no say over, and this is what's continuing. Then you have Supervisor Yee, who was a faculty member at City College. He also has a chief of staff who's on the Board of Trustees, and when they came up with this funding for restoring some of the older adult programs that would be taken out of the hands of City College, he was quoted in the mayor's press release saying the following: "With the senior population on the rise, San Francisco cannot afford losing the limited services we have for our aging adults. Well, they are losing their limited services, and we're advocating for restoring them by providing this emergency funding. So how can he not be in support of this funding? The bottom line of this message is that the supervisors are sending to the students of City College, you're going to be at college where the administration has been screwing up, but you have to accept the harm from their actions. We will not help you out, is what the message is from the supervisors opposed to the funding, as well as the mayor, if she continues to be opposed. Another message they're sending out is that we're accepting your educational opportunities being diminished, essentially by not supplying this funding, and so we're helping to maintain our country's structural or institutional racism because most of the students at City College are working class students of color. Again, I just want to remind you, the city has a budget of $12 billion. We're asking for what is essentially pocket change. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rick. And, one of the issues of privatization is what we're facing. Some of the supervisors have called actually to sell off more properties at City College. And I think that this issue of privatization and sell-off of campuses, Goff campus and others, is something that a lot of developers would like to see. They can make money by privatizing City College. But what would that mean to working class? We have gentrification in San Francisco. Large numbers of working class people, poor people, are being pushed out. We have students who are homeless. And yet they're going to be selling off the campuses. We reject that. And one of the students who will speak today, Marcos, has been active in fighting to defend the college. Welcome, Marcos, from City College.
Did you just introduce me? Okay. Hi everybody, my name is Marcos. Thanks for coming out. Thanks for HEAT for organizing this and make sure that there's people out here for the final vote for this ordinance. Like Rick and Steve were saying, City College is a working class institution, and it's really important to protect the classes that have been cut. We're not asking for a lot of money. We're asking for, like you said, pocket change here in the budget. And if it came out of the reserves, it would be only 2% of the reserves. So we're really not asking for much. We're just asking for programs that are important to the community to stay in City College. We're asking to protect the working class character of this institution, and we're working to protect access, right? Access to valuable services. We have campuses all over the city for good reason. It's not just because we want to have a presence for no reason, right? We need campuses in different places so that different populations can access the services easily, and cutting.
Easily and on public transit.
Exactly, easily and on public transit. That's right. We have very accessible campuses by public transit, and it's just really important that we protect these classes now. It's extremely hard to get these classes back. So, yeah, we encourage the supervisors that have voted no to vote yes today and change their votes. And if they don't, we're asking the mayor to not veto it and give us these funds as soon as possible. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Wynn with Unifying San Francisco, which is a campus-based student organization on campus at City College that is linking education with militarization. And so what we're also supporting today is the funding of $2.7 million for older adult classes and all the classes that the community deserves. And that every student, really has particular needs. And so yesterday there was a rally at Chinatown campus, and you can see, this rally was organized by students and faculty coming together at a campus that really is a huge part of San Francisco. And it kind of showed at the rally that CCSF serves multiple generations, families, students, and really needs the resources to really get the education that they deserve to have a fulfilled life. And so today, again, we want to support the call and really demand for the call for this funding that CCSF really needs. And then I also wanted to share that, with Occupy in San Francisco, with CCSF Collective, and a lot of other student groups on campus, we work also alongside the resource centers. And so we see that every cut that happens really creates a ripple effect. A lot of these programs and classes serve as a safety net for our community. And so again, we want to say, despite all the cuts that have been happening, we really think that this is one of the ways that the supervisors and City Hall can really support the community directly. It's a simple ask, and it goes a long way. Every cut is a death to the college, and every allocation towards the college really helps our community thrive. And the context is that there has been undergoing privatization that's happening at CCSF. These issues and symptoms didn't just arise out of nowhere, and so again, we're going to say no cuts, no fees.
Education must be free.
As I said earlier, this would not have happened without some supervisors stepping forward and saying that it was critical that City College be protected, and particularly African American Latino students at Evans campus, who need these vocational classes so they can go forward with their career and their lives. And Supervisor Shamann Walton has taken the lead in this legislation for the $2.7 million, so I want to thank him and welcome him to the stage today.
So first of all, I just want to thank everyone for continuing to come out to show support for City College. The education of our residents is very important, and we have to make sure that we provide the resources for that education to continue. As you know, at last week's Board of Supervisors meeting, the $2.7 million supplemental passed with a 7-4 vote, which is more than a majority of the Board of Supervisors. So that is something we need to be excited about. As we step into today's meeting for second reading, of course we will have our 7 members who are excited about supporting the supplemental. Hopefully, I can get one more of my colleagues to support this supplemental, and hopefully we can get the mayor's office to support this supplemental. In order for us to demonstrate and show that not only do we have support for higher education, but we support all the purposes of why City College is a true community college, providing opportunities for low-income community, providing opportunities for black students, brown students, our seniors, our immigrant communities, all of our populations. City College encompasses the very fabric of San Francisco, and it is the only college in the state that provides these enhancement opportunities for its students. So we need to make sure that we do everything we can so that continues, and we are going to go in here today and do everything we can to get to an 8-vote supermajority on the Board of Supervisors. So please continue to talk to my colleagues. Please reach out to the mayor's office, because we have a tremendous opportunity here to demonstrate how much we are concerned about the education of the entire student body at City College. So we're not going to stop until the resources are received from City College, and we're going to keep pushing and working together to make this happen. Because as everyone has said, no cuts, and education should be what?
Free.
Education should be what?
Free.
And we're going to keep pushing to make sure that that happens and that is a reality here in San Francisco, like we promised. Thank you all so much.
One of the things that we have in San Francisco is we have a lot of billionaires in San Francisco. It seems like they grow every day. And at the same time, as I said earlier, despite the fact that this is one of the richest cities in the world, we can't afford $2.7 million to restore these 300 classes. But what is happening is not just here at San Francisco Community College. Lumina and ALEC, these right-wing organizations have passed legislation in California to attack community colleges, to push people out and you require that they graduate in 2 years. Well, a lot of working class students can't graduate in 2 years because they're working other jobs. And another campus, another college across the bay is also facing attacks. And with us is John Holmes, who's on the executive board of the Peralta Community College Federation of Teachers. Welcome, John.
And I'd like to say I teach history at Merritt College, the proud home of the Black Panther Party, which I'm pleased to to do. And yes, and I think I can say with some assurance that everyone in the Peralta Federation of Teachers, teaching at the 4 community colleges in the East Bay, are in support of your situation, because we're in the same situation that you guys are. In fact, we're in the same situation a few years further back, because just the other day, the ACCJC, remember them? They put the Peralta system on probation. Okay. Now, what's going on at Peralta? What's going on at Peralta? Are we going broke? No. In fact, this is the year where, technically speaking, for once, Peralta has a surplus. But nonetheless, they're carrying out huge class cuts, and in our union negotiations, management is taking a hard line, and we're not getting too far in the union negotiations. So what is this all about? Why is it that here we are in the bluest of all blue states, in the bluest corner of the bluest of all blue states, and in the middle of the great dot-com boom, with money actually momentarily pouring into the Bay Area, why is it that they're slicing and dicing classes and downsizing colleges on both sides of the Bay, community colleges? I'll tell you why. The reason, and by the way, here I'm speaking for myself. There are many different opinions in our union, but speaking for myself, what I have to say is that what's been going on is that education is less necessary for the lower classes, for the people who are running this country nowadays, than it used to be. And that's why it is that in this bluest of all blue states, there is still more money being spent on prisons than on education. Right? And that's so, the main thing I want to say is, and so these cuts, what's the purpose of these cuts? Is to take community colleges, which are basically supposed to serve the aids of the poor people, the lower classes, the non-whites, especially in Peralta, may I say, based on Oakland, and turn them instead into prep colleges for UC Berkeley and SF State and Cal State Hayward for middle-class white students whose grades weren't good enough to get in the first time around, right? And so therefore, keep it down to 2 years and cut down anything that isn't college prep. And that's what they're doing to the community colleges, and we need to fight that. And the last thing I want to say is what is the curse of the labor movement? Why it is that the labor movement is so weak these days is because for decades and decades it's been tied to the Democratic Party. We need to break from the Democratic Party and fight, and the only way to fight for education for all is for fighting for labor, for the non-white minorities who in California in 10 years are going to turn into the majority, and fight for fundamental transformation in America. And that's what we need. Thank you.
Now, the San Francisco Labor Council has called for the supervisors to support this and Mayor Breed to sign the legislation. And one member of the SEIU 1021, Brenda Barrows, who's the president of the San Francisco General Hospital chapter, which is also facing privatization, racism, and workplace bullying, issued a statement in solidarity with our campaign to get the $2.7 million. She said, "As we fight for equity in San Francisco for City College, to make these racist cuts is unbelievable. When the dean came to our union, I asked him why there are no nursing programs at the Bayview campus. Based on what is happening, we have been lied to. How can he tell us about how they plan to add more programs related to RN nursing, but close the same school by removing classes that would be close to the campus? People in that district deserve equality and access to education without traveling across town. This is a perfect example of the systemic racism we are fighting to end." That's from Brenda Barrows, president of the San Francisco SEIU 1021 chapter at General Hospital. So thank you, Brenda. She can't be here, but I really appreciate it. Also, Stephen Brady is a faculty member, and he has been fighting to protect the vocational programs at the Evans campus. Welcome, Stephen Brady.
Hello everybody, good afternoon and thanks for coming out. We're here today to try and get the mayor and a few members of the Board of Supervisors to back this funding and make it happen. The mayor, at one of the meetings, before one of our first meetings here at the City Hall, she said that the city didn't have the money. and she's very focused on serving the homeless populations and our mentally ill. But at City College, we too also serve these populations, and we help them, and we give them a reason to get up in the mornings and a reason to strive to better their lives and turn their lives around. So that we're also part of the solution, and the small amount of money we're asking for can only enhance that. On top of that, I'd like to talk a little bit too about the faculty that we're losing. We invest, millions of dollars every year to hire and bring in faculty. In my particular area, a lot of tradespeopeople, they come a lot of time in the evening time to teach. They work during the day. They keep their skills up to date, and we're losing these folks to other colleges, or they just, a lot of them feel very disappointed with the way they've been treated. Their classes were cut without any warning. They have lives and they have schedules that they're trying to work around as well. Many of them only take a job at City College to cover their healthcare costs, and that's been reaped away from them as well. So we have to really try and retain these people because they have very unique skills. They've developed some great programs at the college, and I'd like to give a little shout out for them, and hopefully we can get those folks back in the classroom next week maybe. Thanks a lot.
So we all know that London Breed is supporting Michael Bloomberg, the billionaire. So I think I have some advice for her, since she says that Bloomberg would be good for this country. Maybe she should ask Bloomberg to make the contribution of $2.7 million. Instead of all those TV ads that are going on, how about $2.7 million for the classes at City College? Since she's supporting him, I think he could come up with $2.7 million. I mean, he's a multi-billionaire. It's chump change, and let's say that there's money, and the billionaires have money. Get the $2.7 million. So our next speaker is Kate Frey. She is from the Chinatown campus, and certainly Supervisor Peskin, who says he represents North Beach, should be one of the yes people for the $2.7 million. So welcome, Kate.
Hi there. Thanks everyone for coming out today. I know it's cold. Why are we here? Why are we here kind of day after day, week after week? Because City College is, as one of our faculty members said in her poem yesterday, the heartbeat of San Francisco. We are the kind of quiet workhorse. If you look around this city, 20 to 25% of the residents have taken some kind of class at City College of San Francisco. We have everything. I teach ESL and citizenship. I help people become members of the society. I help them earn the right to vote. I help them learn how to get better jobs, communicate with their grandchildren, with their kids' teachers, right? You can do whatever. The beautiful bouquet of flowers coming into City Hall for probably a wedding. We have an amazing award-winning horticulture and floristry program. We have won so many awards for such a wide variety of programs. We give skills to people, we give hope to people, we give dreams to people. We are quietly working away the students, the faculty, the staff, and time after time we are being attacked by the ACCJC, sometimes unfortunately by our own administration. Woo! Let us do our jobs, let us teach, let us learn, let us help San Francisco be vibrant, be diverse, be amazing. We need everyone to stand together with us. We need this funding, we need it now for the classes that were canceled. 90% of older adults classes totally canceled. Fully enrolled classes that give people a reason to get up every day, that build community, that help them stay physically and mentally strong. Why? There's no reason. There's no justification. That is unconscionable. We need those classes restored now. We need the funding now, and we need the city to stand up with us. You might not realize that it's your fight, but it is. When you go to the hospital and you want a nurse who can take care of you, you want someone who has gone through City College's program. If you go to any restaurant here, you probably eat something made by someone who went through City College's culinary program. We need you, we need everyone, we need the whole city. We need the mayor to stand behind us, we need the remaining
the city can afford $2.7 million. It's an insult, really, and an outrage that we have to have a protest here for an appropriation of $2.7 million. Adjuncts, welcome Joe Berry.
I'm a retired teacher in labor and community studies, and before that in the social science department. And I just wanted to say that this small amount of money will restore these classes. It's obvious, one of the arguments against it is this is a Band-Aid. Well, of course it's a Band-Aid. But it's a Band-Aid that is holding together a bridge to the future so that the CHEF program, the Community Higher Education Funding, right? Is that what it is? Program can kick in with ongoing funding, and so that the Schools and Community First statewide ballot initiative goes on to the ballot in November and fixes Prop 13 to the extent that rich corporations and rich individuals begin to pay their fair share, and we get more revenue coming in to the whole public education and public services sector of the society. It is a Band-Aid, but it's a Band-Aid that holds an essential bridge together, and it's not an argument against this. These other funding sources should be supported, of course, and need to be fought for, and anybody who isn't on the train needs to be examined for their ticket. And if they don't have a ticket, they need to be put off the train. Thank you.
Body, turn me around, turn me around, turn me around, ain't gonna let nobody turn me around. Keep on a-walking, keep on a-talking, gonna build a brand new world. Ain't gonna let Mark Rocha turn us around, turn us around, no, turn us around. Ain't gonna let Mark Rocha turn us around, no. Keep on a-walking, keep on a-talking, gonna build a brand new world. Ain't gonna let no bureaucrats turn me around. Let's hear it. Turn me